Thika Dam, popularly known as Ndakaini, is Nairobi's main water source. It was intended to provide reliable water supply to the ever-expanding city, but a long dry spell is reducing the supply to an intermittent trickle, putting Nairobi on a red alert. This is where reality hits home. The pillar behind me best demonstrates the reality of failed rains in the country. In June last year, this dam was essentially full. But 6 months down the line, the levels have dropped by 17 meters. It's a drastic drop, the lowest recorded in over 7 years. From optimal 70 million litres, Ndakaini's volumes have sunk to an alarming 32 million litres.
We are hoping that the rains will come in by April. If we get, by any chance, we get rains before then, that will be really sheer luck. So we are saying that if we have to go, whatever we have now can only sustain us up to April.
There's no water coming into the dam at all, and we're at 45%.
If there is no rain, it means that the rivers are not recharged. And the dams, therefore, where do we get water from?
We know, looking at the cycle, normally in every 4 years we have one bad year. We want to prepare as if this 2017 would be one of those bad years. And the signs are there with the failed short range. Ndakaini is at its lowest level.
Ordinarily, Ndakaini releases 2,900 litres per second, which translates to 250 million litres of water gushing through these massive water pipes into the Ngethu waterworks for treatment and subsequent discharge to the city. The amount has now reduced to 2,200 litres per second, or 190 million litres per day, to save up for dry days ahead. The city subsequently has to contend with less water on its taps.
One thing is that we don't know where the water is coming from. Yes. Hatujui kama ni sewage water. I am talking as a mother. Tuko na watoto. So many outbreaks. Tunaoga, tunaungua. Exactly. The hospitals are closed.
We've gone to rationing program because the levels now have gone down and we have to cut the supply down. We have to adjust. If an area used to get 4 days in a week, now they'll have to get 3 days in a week. We are going to review the rationing program after every 2 weeks, depending on what happens in the abadeas, in the rivers and the rainfalls.
We must conserve the little water that we have, even in our houses, in our homes, even in our industries, and even on our farms. As we are utilizing that water, let us realize that we are a water-scarce country. Let us conserve every drop that we can.
Kawangware, like many other city estates, is reeling from water rationing effects. Faith Ogoma lives here.
At least twice or thrice a week we have running water in our taps. But currently the taps are just dry. They are dry.
Water vendors have now moved in to quench the biting thirst left by the Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company.
Nimefeel juu mfuko pia haiko mbaya sana. Unaona sasa juu unaona the more shortage inakuwa mnauza maji mob. Mimi maji nanunuanga 5 bob, nauza 20 bob. Napata faida 15 bob.
I have to spend like I think 200 shillings per day to buy water. But that has even suppressed my consumption. I don't consume that little because I have kids who play around. They're still toddlers, 2 years, 3 years. So when they come back home, the clothes are really dirty. I really have to do laundry on a daily basis. And my laundry would take like even 5 jerrycans of water. Then at least to set aside 2 for taking our normal baths, all of us. 1 at least for just cooking. That would be 8.
That the 3 other sources of Nairobi's water, including Kikuyu Springs, Sasumwa and Ruiru dams, are still full is dry respite, as they can hardly sustain Nairobi even for just a day.
Even when it is raining and even when it is the capacity is full at Ndakaini and those other sources, there is a shortfall of about 250,000 cubic meters per day because what we are producing now is about 550,000 per day. And the demand is about 750.
Which then begs the question, why is Kenya perennially caught up in dry spells? It means mitigation interventions such as water harvesting and storage are minimal or non-existent.
When we have good rains, we are talking of over 20 billion cubic meters of water, right from the heavens coming down to Kenya and running off to the Indian Ocean. We must invest more in developing infrastructure to harvest this water, to store this water, and to utilize it. This is what the Northern Collector Tunnel is all about.
According to the Water Cabinet Secretary, only Busia County has already developed a water bill that would make water storage mandatory for every new building, particularly in the urban areas. Nairobi is still in the process. Perhaps such floods that caused deaths and huge losses in the city would never have occurred if every building had a water storage facility commensurate to its size, and the city would by now be water sufficient rather than thirsty. Sylvie Chebet, Citizen Weekend.